Hello there! Welcome to episode 4 of my tutorial series for Songs of SYX. We're going to explore the wonderful world of imports and exports and refining a little bit in this one. So, last episode, I have completed the setup to have a nice subsistency here. We produce a lot of food. I've cranked up the number of fruit farmers a little bit further. I have cranked up the number of fishers here a little bit further. We have the pasture workers here on auto employments. So, long story short, there should be a massive bonus in terms of food production. So we should keep working on that. By the way, while we're talking about that, food production, this is a really big topic. We are just scratching the surface of that. But I wanted to show you that every species also has preferred food. So our buddies, the Crotonians, actually love vegetables, bread, and mushrooms. We cannot produce mushrooms too well on this map, but we can produce vegetables and bread. So right now we're only creating fruit, which is a food that our dudes are standing neutral towards too. They don't hate it, they don't like it too much either. But let's check out the vegetables. So when you zoom on out, you see those green thingies there, and that's markers for where you can find wild edibles. So we're going to slap down a collection marker over there to make sure our dudes. Wait a sec. Yeah, sorry, my bad. I somehow have to select these guys. No. Yeah, whatever. It's working out. It just confused me with the depiction there. I'm sorry. So that wasn't necessary. The question mark is all you need. That's all. Selecting all things there. It was just, the blue markers were right next to the veggie icons, but it's all as it should be. Now then, there's not that much more to do except for one thing. We should set on up the vegetable farm as well. So we're going to put that right next to the first farm. There we go. And then we do construct that. So I will be working with that farm just like I worked with the last one. We're going to put workers on it according to the availability there. So right now I don't want to add in any further immigrants because I want to wait whether or not my food clock will replenish right now. It's not necessary, but this is some kind of good habit that I grew close to, which allows me to avoid any starvations whatsoever. So we're out of wood. That's because we don't run a forestry yet. So we could. Where is it? I'm finding you. Here, woodcutter. So we really need to put up a woodcutter at some point in the future, but for now, manual harvesting is the way to go. So we have that new warehouse. Let's work with that. So I'm going to clap up 10 boxes for stone and another 10 boxes for wood. So we're really well off there. So you can also here go for that button to set up a fixed amount, and this makes it a lot easier. So let's give ourselves 20 boxes for meat and 10 boxes for fruit, and let's say another 10 boxes for veg. So what we're doing next here is this warehouse here. I'm going to reduce the amount of boxes for food. Oh, we need to put up a fish box as well. And I'm putting a fetch mark into these. So the worker here now will try to keep those boxes always filled. So this is a pretty cool thing to do because now we're using this warehouse as the one to store things at, and this warehouse is now turning into a distributor. This is pretty important to keep places like eateries stocked, and we're also going to use that warehouse here still further for some storages, but we're evolving its usage, so to say. So 10 boxes for cotton. We also have that stuff quite much, and 10 boxes for leather. So we're racking up now the quantities quite substantially, don't we? And 10 boxes for furniture, And there we go. So now we can see what kind of productions our city will bring up. The next thing that I want to have here, right opposite to that, I'm going to put up import and export depots. So let's slap up 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh well, let's make it like that. And so that's way more export depots than we actually need right now. But it's pretty nice to have some as a reserve, so to say. So let's see. Our food storages are now again way lower, but that's a wrong number. Because right now we are transporting stuff from one warehouse to another, and that's why we have such a wild fluctuation in the number there. Happens when you set on up a second warehouse and set up fetch rules and whatnot. So let's see, we gotta wait out what's happening there. By the way, we're still working on that huge farm next door, so it's okay. Our people here are working on those export depots as well. So the next goal that I set myself is an accident. There's nothing too much to worry about. Our next big step will be, and that's something I do with practically all of my cities, is to think about what will the city be really good at. I can already see two things. I have stupid amounts of wood, and I have really a lot of fertile soil. So we most definitely will be able to produce large amounts of timber products and large amounts of food, and we can earn ourselves quite a lot of money with that. Right now, our hunter is exporting the entirety of the leather. We're going to stop that now. So we're going to shift on over there, and now I tell the export depot to only sell 10% of my warehouse stock anymore. Basically, this setting makes sure that we're only going to sell what's not fitting into the warehouses anymore. I really like that kind of setting because it protects you from the from spoilage, because things don't fit into your warehouses anymore. Quite a nifty setting to make sure that you always transform your overproductions into profit. Well then, so we are right now at -1 workers, so we gotta change that. Our food clock was also very positive, so good moment to pick up new people. Negative worker amounts up here in that box have to be avoided under any circumstance. So, as you see there, we're racking up a huge amount of wood. Technology-wise, we're going to be able to refine things right now, right away, basically. So, things we can refine. We can transform cotton into fabric. We can transform wood into coal, and we can transform ore into metal. That's one of the most beneficial ones. And the brewery transforms grain and pottery into drinks. But that's one advanced technology. And the next thing would be the bakery. So right now, I am very interested in the bakery because we already saw that our Cretonians love bread. So we could be doing that. Let's unlock the bakery there. And we should also think about the charcoaler, because a city that has so much wood at its disposal doesn't need to mine for coal. We can easily transform our timber into coal and live off of that. Songs of Six is a game where your city never has to be good at everything. We will introduce that kind of concept here into the city already by focusing into sort of a import-export economy. So here we're going to set up some import depots. That's the place where we're going to buy things at. I'm doing this very close to the warehouse to keep logistics as efficient as possible. It's always a good thing to have these things close to one another, because you really have to keep in mind your citizens will have to work with these things as you put them up. So there we go. To get ourselves a bakery going, we're also going to require grain. We don't have grain yet, so let's check on out where we can find some wild grain growing. I mean, it's the same procedure as we had it before, just holding down my right mouse key. So there's some up there. Well, let's see if we can't find some wild grain somewhere else. So there's a really tiny little patch. Not gonna get us anywhere. Well, okay. So the grain Kickstarter ain't that easy to get here, hey? Quite unusual. Well, okay, then it's going to be here. Anyways, so harvest wild edibles, and we're going to set this up like that. Same logic as we had it before. Another farm for grain. Grain is really amazing in so far as well as it does not require you to process it to earn money with it. You basically can produce grain and just you know, just sell it off as it is. It's already profit. So as you see here, we're focusing now pretty hard into the farming. Our food stockpiles are literally exploding, but it's mostly meat, so that means our hunter had a wild success there, but that's okay. So we have unlocked a new level. Every couple of people you unlock a new leadership level. So we have now unlocked the training grounds and the archery rangers, and our people are per se a little bit happier due to the rank. It ain't that nice. So if you're interested about those ranks, you can find them here when you click the throne. And I think here, yeah, the status button it is. So at 250 people, our title will be Sheriff. It goes all the way down to Emperor with 10,000 people. So it's quite a lot to achieve. Okay, so we're setting all this up now. This is a quite big project that we're running there, but that doesn't put us off here. So there you see it. All that meat we've been stockpiling here is being transported now into the warehouse. 1,800 units of meat per year. That's a busy guy. And check out the warehouse. It's drawing now a lot of delivery men out of our workforce because we have so many goods to move. The real cool part about the auto-employment of the warehouses is the AI will also unemploy those guys as soon as there's not that much stuff to be transported anymore. I really like that. This is a pretty cool system. So we are racking up leather again, and also noticeable, our research points are not really developing that fast anymore. That's because we're getting closer to our current technology threshold, defined mostly by the amount of researchers we have working there. So I do see my wood stockpiles fill up like crazy. So let's do one thing. Let's configure our export depot, and as you see there, they're not buying it for any cost. That's really depressing. And another thing that's really important, every one of these depots somehow drew a trader. That's of course not necessary. You can also turn it off here. So we're going to put these, of course, on auto-employ whenever we activate them. Funny enough, the import depots don't need any workers, but it is as it is. So that's being done. So we see there we don't really get any money for our wood. We do get some money for our leather, but there's a way to fix all this. When you browse down all the way there, there is one technology called trade negotiation. So that's what we're requiring. Altogether, I see a severe lack in technology. So let's double up our scientists. There we go. As you see there now, Our new knowledge cap is 1,400, so we should be really well off with that. Food-wise, well, what can I say? We are just extremely well off. Meat could be exported at this point as well. It's very cheap. We're going to wait for the technology to be uncovered. And there is a bit of homelessness happening, so we're going to check on out where. So the homelessness is always happening where there's a yellow marker. So the warehouse delivery men need spots to live at. So unlike the other housing areas, I'm going to create these now a little bit closer to where the action is actually happening. So we're going to build those homes here and there. There we go. So now I'm just waiting for that science, and you will understand why I'm waiting for that science in a second. Because it's really amazing how much impact that technology has. So as you see there, we have even more homelessness now happening. I bet that's the scientists now that want to have a place to live at too. Let's check it out. All right. So basically, whenever you assign new workers to some workshop, they always need some place to chill at, you know. Pretty understandable. So as soon as we will set up these farms here, we'll have the same thing happening. Okay, so 250 tech are together. Let's get on over there, buy that trade negotiation tech, and let's do that again. So we have basically doubled the price for meat, and wood still not worth anything. So the prices, by the way, really do depend on the technology, of course, and on how much there is for on the other colonies or cities in your environment. If you are settling in a wood-rich environment, wood is not that much of a trade commodity. The last city I was featuring, I think the Empire of Dondor, had really good prices for wood when they were selling it, but don't nail me down on that. But what I'm trying to say is the environment's supply and demand is influencing those prices. So we're not going to export wood, that's the TLDR of that, but we are going to export some of that meat, because it really doesn't make any sense to keep all that meat for ourselves. I'm going to show you why that's especially true. So we're going to export 30% of that, and now we're going to put that onto auto-employ, because, you know, the AI knows best. So meat. When you hover this here, their meat has a spoilage rate of 100% per year. That means all that meat goes bad over the course of 1 year. That's why I personally love to export meat early on, because, you know, it doesn't bring me that much money, but at the same time, it's still better than letting it go bad in your colony or city, however you want to call it right now. So that's why we're exporting 70% of that. I'll still have insane stockpiles of food, so I'm not too worried about that in the first place. So we're going to use some of that crates for grain as well, because, you know, we are producing that as well. I'm gonna put up 20 crates for the grain, and we already have 130 crates of 188 nailed down. So that warehouse looked a little bit larger in at the first glance, but effectively it ain't that much of a big building. It's just a medium-sized warehouse, sadly. All right, so we see the carpenter's workshop now. This place is where we churn out money. 10 people here only get to create 74 pieces of furniture. So let's check out, how does furniture sell though? For $4 each. So this would be at least an opportunity for us to turn that timber into money. But we're definitely going to make sure that if we are exporting furniture, it's going to be only the top of our shelf. Because here, well, furniture has a spoilage rate of 25% per year, so we can sell away the remaining I personally love to export that what would basically go bad anyways. With meat, it's a little bit harder because you see how it is. But yeah, you get the idea. Long story short, we're going to earn ourselves some nice penny with that. But let's hop on over and build ourselves also a bit of a bakery. So grain will be produced on over there. We will ultimately transport that grain to the warehouse. It's not too much of a far distance here between here and there, so we don't need to be too worried about that. So the bakery will go somewhere down here. I'm already well aware that this will have some problems, so experienced players might already wonder why the hell am I doing this, but I want to use the bakery as a demonstration of more complex things here. So we're going to, well, want to have the artisans district there, but let's set up the bakery over here. It's a good spot to do so, but let's probably use this side of the river. Yeah, let's do it like that. So, nice and long building. We're going to build this one again with wood. You could also build with stone. The difference between building with wood and with stone, in case you're wondering, is maintenance. Janitors require more wood for maintenance than they require stone for maintenance, and I vaguely remember having read something that wooden buildings deteriorate faster than stone buildings. So they have more. You have to put in more effort to keep them non-deteriorated. You get the idea. So here you see me again struggling with that stabilization menu. So that's one of the few things I really suck at, I know. Or I shouldn't say one of the few things. I meant to say one of the things. So here we go. And here we're clapping down quite the army of ovens, you see. So this place has now room for 50 employees. That's sick, isn't it? So let's make sure we have also the auxiliaries for that. And here with the auxiliaries, there is the problem there. So metal. We have our first occurrence of metal. But as you all have already seen in the past episodes, that won't be too much of an issue. We're just going to import that stuff. But as you see there, we really do require quite a lot of auxiliary ovens there to get that thing 200% efficiency. So we could now min-max and tweak around and squidge in even more for even more ovens there, but I'm not gonna. Because I personally am no big fan of over-optimizing things. This is good enough. This provides room for 50 workers, and that's already quite sick. So, we do require a lot of resources for that, and we're going to make that happen here. So, stone, we don't have enough of that yet. So let's clear some rock. The thing is, we will require a lot of metal for that, which we don't have right now. So we're going to order that. Metal is found down here, and we're going to order ourselves a nice amount of 84, but as you see there, we need 104, so we don't even have enough right now. Luckily, we are right now exporting a lot of stuff, so as soon as the meat export is running, we will have enough money, so, or at least more. We'll see about that. So super huge workshops have their downsides. So basically, if we'd be building a small bakery here, we'd be actually better off insofar as we'd be able to get that thing rolling faster. I know that. But at the same time, I really don't feel like it's a horribly bad thing to have to wait a bit until these are built. So our farms, they let us down for quite a while. The other thing you could do would be to import the Kickstarters. That's another good thing to do. So here we go. So we have now 111 pieces of metal inbound. It's pretty good. So let's check out our janitors. As you see there, The blue grid of the janitor is dispersing at some points. Janitors, yeah, they only have so and so much area they can cover. So luckily we don't need another janitor here, but as soon as we expand our city into that direction, we'll require another one. Anyways, not too much of a big deal. So as you see there, our export depot here is working hard, and there's no problem in setting up a second one. You can also build them larger. You can, you see, Q and E also works on them to make them larger and smaller. The amount of crates goes bigger and smaller, so you can adapt that to your needs. I'm personally a big fan of just bringing up more of the small ones if necessary and reconfigure them as I see fit. But I'm pretty positive about the fact that there are many ways to configure that to your own for your own pleasure. So here we earn a lot of money with our hunter, but in the long run, keep yourself one thing in your mind. The hunter's income is limited. The hunter will eventually run out of game. And on this map, we are really rich in game. There is extremely much to hunt on this map, and therefore it's going to be not much of a biggie. We can live with that hunter for quite a long time, and I'm totally okay with exporting crazy amounts of meat. So we might be actually, tell you what, for the time being, I'm going to set on up 4 of these things, because if there is ever one export depot too much, it's just going to work a lot slower, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. So, by the way, we need storage for metal. Only gonna bring up 5 crates for that, because, you know, we don't need that much of it. And let's keep going. Yeah, coal will be another thing I want some crates for, but that's something where I'm going to pick up 10 crates off. So it's going to take a while longer until the bakery is finished. We're getting the grain farm and the veggie farm not really done in the time that I see fit. So we're just going to import some of these items here as well. By all means, money is there to be spent. Well, it's only partially true, but as a matter of fact, owning money makes lots of species actually happy. But that's a different, that's a story for a different day. So right now I'm importing the veg for this farm here. And as you see here, my food clock's going down. But that's mostly because we're now finally exporting all the stuff we don't require. And let's see. We have minus 40 workers. I think my bakery is done. So let's drop that. So check this out. So here the bakery transforms grain and wood into bread. You can also run this recipe with coal, and all in all, coal is better. But you know, one thing at a time. We are going to wait on out for a moment here. Right now you see that the mood is on decline. That's because we are losing fulfillment. As weird as it might look at the first glance, that's only because the Cretonians were so much looking forward to work in the bakery. There are jobs your citizens do like more than others, and vice versa, of course. So they were all psyched up already to work in that bakery, and now I took it away from them. Outrageous. Jokes aside, we're going to set up a couple of homes here in the vicinity, because it's already very, very foreseeable that we're going to need a lot of housing for the people working at the bakery. So let's get that down. And at the same time, let's add in more people into the city. So the veg farm is getting done. We have now, again, some money at our disposal. So let's buy that grain as well. The Kickstarters, you know, you can grab them from the fields, but you can also buy them. I just wanted to introduce different ways of solving the same problem. Right on. So sadly, I was talking more about imports and exports today. Well, Actually, only exports. The imports will become more important later when we want to use items for the refining that we don't produce here natively. I will most likely be importing ore because ore is just out of reach for us. The the import of ore is much cheaper than the import of metal. So this way you can cut the costs a bit. So, but I'm going to talk about that, I think, in the next episode a little bit more in detail, because right now I'm not convinced that this is a good thing for this episode still. So we're going to receive the thingies here. So I'm really happy with that farm being fully staffed. Totally okay with that. We're going to bring in even more citizens here. I'm okay with it because our dudes, they love their veg. The moment we have vegetables at our in our food system for real, we will churn out a lot of happiness because of that, and that's totally worth it. So, grain farm is also being completed, and that's where I'm going to outro for today, my dear friends. So, next episode, we're going to bake some bread. I mean, technically, that's all to understand there. We put in people, we make bread out of that. We have to put up boxes for the bread, and that's that. Oh, can it? Pressing enter doesn't work. Whatever. We put up 10 boxes for the bread, and then we'll have that. Next episode, I want to focus a bit more into things like metal production. So we're going to, I don't know, either we're going to produce coal or the smelter, or preferably both. But I cannot make any predictions about that. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. We're going to continue on the next episode. Feel free to leave me some comments with questions or what you want to see covered here topic-wise in the series. I find it very, very helpful to get some input from outside. And yeah. Also, thumbs up if you enjoyed. This helps a lot to make the series more visible, and feel free to subscribe if you haven't done so already. There's daily content coming up from my side, and I'd be really, really happy if you did so. So, playlists you find in the description box below if you want to check out the first episode. And last but not least, I want to point to the support links down there. There's PayPal, Twitter, PayPal, Patreon, and Buy Me a Coffee as ways and means to support this channel, and I'd be really, really happy if you'd give them a look. So, catch you guys on the next one, when we're going to hopefully make some coal and steel, but we'll see about that. Enjoy, and see you soon.